Have you ever wondered why certain things in your life just seem to work out, even when they shouldn't? Maybe you missed a major accident by seconds, got an opportunity you didn't even apply for, or met the right person at the right time. Some people call it luck, but when you're a woman blessed by God, luck has nothing to do with it. It's divine favor working in ways you can't always see. Studies show that over 90% of people experience what they call unexplained moments of protection or provision at least once in their lives. Things that should have gone wrong but didn't. Some might dismiss it as coincidence, but think about it. How many times have you been in a situation where things should have fallen apart, but somehow they didn't? That's not just a random twist of fate. That's God showing you that His hand is on your life. Imagine this. A woman loses her job unexpectedly. She's devastated. Bills are piling up, and she doesn't know what to do. But then, out of nowhere, she gets a phone call from a company she applied to months ago and completely forgot about. Not only do they offer her a job, but it's a better position with a higher salary than the one she lost. She had no idea God was setting her up for something greater. Have you ever had a moment like that? A time when something you thought was a setback turned out to be a setup for something better? It's easy to get frustrated when things don't go as planned, but what if what felt like a delay was actually divine protection? What if God was blocking you from something that would have hurt you, or positioning you for something you didn't even know you needed? Think about the times you've been spared from a bad relationship, a toxic friendship, or a situation that seemed good on the surface but later proved to be destructive. At the time, you may have felt heartbroken, disappointed, or even angry at God. But looking back, can you see how that closed door was actually a blessing? Some of the most blessed women in history had moments where they couldn't see what God was doing. Take Oprah Winfrey, for example. She was publicly fired from her first TV job because they said she wasn't fit for television. Imagine that. One of the most influential women in the world today was once told she wasn't good enough. If she had accepted that rejection as the final word on her future, she wouldn't be where she is today. What she thought was a loss was actually God redirecting her to something greater. The same is true for you. If you're a woman who keeps finding unexpected blessings, who walks away from situations without realizing what God just saved you from, and who keeps seeing doors open in ways you can't explain, you are walking in divine favor. But here's the question: do you recognize it? Or are you so focused on what's missing that you don't see what's being provided? Sometimes God's favor doesn't look like what we expect. It's not always a big miracle with flashing lights. It's the small, quiet ways He moves behind the scenes. The car accident that almost happened but didn't. The person who was about to betray you but walked away before they could. The job you didn't get only to land something better later. A woman blessed by God doesn't have to chase opportunities, they find her. She doesn't have to force relationships. God removes the wrong ones and places the right people in her life. She doesn't have to live in fear because she knows that even in the middle of uncertainty, she is being divinely guided. So, the next time something doesn't go as planned, ask yourself, is this a delay or divine direction? Instead of stressing over the unknown, what if you trusted that God is already working on something better for you? You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to recognize the favor already at work in your life. And when you do, you'll realize you are already more blessed than you ever imagined. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift? Not because of what you said, but simply because of who you are. There's something powerful about a woman who carries peace, strength, and a presence that makes people feel safe, heard, and valued. Some call it charisma, but the truth is, it's deeper than that. It's God's presence flowing through you, and it's something that can't be faked. Studies show that people decide within 7 seconds whether they feel comfortable around someone or not. 7 seconds. That means before you even say a word, your presence is already speaking. But here's the real question. What is your presence saying? Think about a time when you were around someone whose energy was heavy. Maybe they didn't even say anything negative, but you could just feel something was off. Now think about the opposite. Someone who, just by being near them, made you feel calmer, more confident, or even inspired. That difference is what happens when a woman carries divine peace. There's a true story about a woman who worked as a nurse in one of the busiest hospitals in New York City. Every day she walked into chaotic situations, patients in pain, doctors rushing, families grieving. But what shocked people the most was that every time she stepped into a room, people seemed to calm down. One doctor even said, "I don't know what it is about her, but when she's here, the stress doesn't feel as overwhelming." What people didn't know was that before she started each shift, she would pray over every hallway and patient room she walked into. She wasn't just bringing medical care, she was bringing God's peace. Now think about your own life. Have people ever told you, "I just feel better when I'm around you"? Or have you ever noticed that people open up to you even when you don't ask? That's not random. It's a sign that you're carrying something greater than yourself. But here's the flip side. Some women walk into a room and bring chaos. They don't even have to say much. Their energy drains people. You can feel the tension when they speak. Have you ever known someone like that? Someone who, no matter what's happening, finds a way to bring negativity into the situation? The truth is, we all have a choice in what we bring into a room. A woman blessed by God doesn't just take energy, she creates it. She sets the atmosphere. She carries peace so deeply within her that it overflows to others. That doesn't mean she's always happy, always perfect, or never struggles. It means that even in her struggles, she has a sense of calm that can't be shaken. But how do you know if you have this kind of presence? Ask yourself this: what do people say about me when I'm not in the room? Do I bring encouragement or do I leave people feeling drained? That's a hard question, but it's an important one. Jesus himself showed us what it means to carry divine peace. Everywhere he went, people wanted to be near him, not just because of his miracles, but because of the way he made them feel. The woman at the well, the broken, the outcasts, they felt safe with him. And if you are a woman blessed by God, that same presence is in you. That's why people trust you with their secrets. That's why friends come to you for advice. That's why even when you don't realize it, you are changing lives just by being who you are. But here's the challenge. Are you protecting that peace? Are you making sure that what's inside of you isn't being drained by the wrong people, the wrong situations, or the wrong mindset? Because a woman blessed by God doesn't just carry peace, she protects it. If you've ever wondered why some people seem to be drawn to you, or why you often find yourself in the role of the encourager, this is your confirmation. You are carrying something special, and the world needs more of it. Some people think being blessed by God means having an easy, struggle-free life. But what if I told you that one of the biggest signs you're blessed isn't how smooth your journey has been? It's how many times you've been knocked down and still managed to rise. Studies show that over 92% of highly successful people have faced major setbacks before their breakthrough. Think about that. 92%. That means almost every woman who has ever achieved something great has had to go through something that could have broken her, but instead of staying down, she used it to build herself up. Look at your own life. Have you ever faced something that felt impossible to get through? Maybe you lost a job, faced a betrayal, went through heartbreak, or struggled financially. At that moment, it felt like everything was falling apart. But now, looking back, can you see how that experience made you stronger? There's a true story about a single mother named Lisa. She had just gone through a painful divorce and was left with almost nothing. She had 2 kids to feed, no job, and no idea what to do next. She cried herself to sleep for weeks, asking God, "Why me?" But one day something shifted. Instead of focusing on what she had lost, she started focusing on what she could do. She began baking cookies in her tiny apartment and selling them to neighbors. At first it was just to survive, but soon word spread. People loved them. She started getting bigger orders, then bigger clients. A few years later, Lisa owned a bakery chain that made millions. She always said, "If my life hadn't fallen apart, I never would have found my true purpose." What if the hardest thing you've ever been through is actually the thing that's shaping you for something greater? What if what feels like rejection is actually God's redirection? Think about the women you admire the most. Have any of them had an easy life? Probably not. In fact, the women who inspire us the most, whether in history, in your community, or even in your own family, are usually the ones who kept going even when everything was against them. But here's the hard truth. Not everyone survives their storms the same way. Some people let struggles break them, while others use them as fuel to become stronger. So the real question is, how do you handle your storms? Do you let challenges define you, or do you rise above them? Do you believe that every setback is setting you up for something greater? When you're a woman blessed by God, you may go through tough seasons, but you never stay down. Somehow you always manage to get back up. Somehow, even when you think it's over, a new opportunity finds you. And if you're in the middle of a struggle right now, hear me when I say this: it is not the end. It may feel like it, but you have no idea what's waiting for you on the other side of this challenge. The fact that you're still standing, still pushing, still believing, that alone is proof that you are blessed beyond measure. And the best part, your story isn't over yet. Some people spend their whole lives chasing opportunities. But have you ever noticed that certain people don't have to chase anything? Opportunities just seem to find them. Maybe that's you. Maybe doors have opened for you in ways that didn't even make sense. Maybe you've been chosen for things you didn't even apply for, received blessings you weren't expecting, or found yourself in the right place at the right time over and over again. If that sounds familiar, it's not by accident. It's a sign that you are a woman blessed by God. Studies show that over 70% of successful people admit that at least one major breakthrough in their life came from an unexpected opportunity. One they didn't seek out, but that somehow found them. Think about that. That means most people who've achieved something great weren't even looking for the exact opportunity that changed their life. It found them. Now, let me ask you, has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had an opportunity come out of nowhere? A job, a relationship, a financial blessing, or even a connection with the right person at the perfect time? Most people would call that luck, but when you are walking in divine favor, luck has nothing to do with it. There's a story about a woman named Maya who had worked in the same office job for 10 years. She was good at what she did, but she always felt like she was meant for something more. The problem? She didn't have the confidence to step out of her comfort zone. One day, she was randomly asked to fill in for her boss at a networking event. She didn't want to go, but she said yes anyway. At that event, she met a CEO who was so impressed by her that he offered her a job at double her salary. That one opportunity changed her life. And here's the crazy part, she never even applied for it. She wasn't chasing the opportunity was chasing her. How many times has something like that happened in your own life? A chance meeting that led to something big, a door that opened before you even knocked. A blessing that found you even when you weren't looking for it. See, when you're a woman blessed by God, you don't have to manipulate, force, or fight your way into rooms. The right doors will open for you. That doesn't mean you won't have to work hard. It just means that your steps are divinely ordered. But here's the problem. Some women spend so much time chasing the wrong things that they don't recognize the blessings chasing them. Have you ever been so focused on what you wanted that you didn't see the bigger plan God had for you? Maybe you were chasing the wrong relationship, the wrong career, the wrong opportunity, when all along God had something better waiting for you. A woman blessed by God understands that she doesn't have to beg for what's already hers. She knows that when she walks in faith, the right people, the right doors, and the right opportunities will align. So let me ask you, are you paying attention to the doors that are opening in your life? Are you making room for the blessings that are trying to find you? Or are you too busy chasing things that were never meant for you in the first place? If opportunities keep finding you, if doors keep opening even when you least expect them, if you find yourself in places you never imagined, pay attention. That's not an accident. That's a sign that you are walking in divine favor. And when you recognize it, you'll realize something powerful. You don't have to chase opportunities. Opportunities are already chasing you. Have you ever noticed that when you speak, people listen? Maybe they lean in a little closer. Maybe they remember your words long after the conversation is over. Or maybe they even come to you for advice, even when you don't ask them to. If that sounds familiar, it's not a coincidence. It's a sign that you are a woman blessed by God. Because when God blesses a woman, He gives her words power. Studies show that people remember emotionally impactful words up to 22 times more than ordinary conversations. That means the things you say, your encouragement, your wisdom, your advice, can stay with someone for years, even for a lifetime. Have you ever had someone repeat something you said, even when you don't remember saying it? That's because your words carry weight. There's a true story about a teacher named Miss Johnson. She wasn't rich, she wasn't famous, but she had a gift. Her words had power. She had a student named Marcus who struggled with self-doubt. He didn't think he was smart enough, good enough, or capable enough to do anything big in life. One day, after failing a test, he told her, "I don't think I'm ever going to be successful." Miss Johnson looked at him and said, "Marcus, I don't care what that test says. You are a leader. You are smart. And one day people are going to know your name." Fast forward 20 years and Marcus became a highly successful entrepreneur, making millions. But when people asked him what changed his life, he didn't mention money, connections, or luck. He said, "A teacher once told me I was a leader, and I believed her." One sentence changed the course of his life. That's the power of words. Now think about yourself. Have people ever told you that your words help them? Have you ever spoken life into someone without even realizing it? Maybe you encouraged a friend when she was about to give up. Maybe you gave advice that someone later told you changed everything for them. That's not just being a good friend. That's divine influence at work in your life. But here's the flip side. Words don't just build, they can also destroy. Have you ever had someone say something to you that hurt so deeply you still remember it years later? Maybe a parent told you you'd never amount to anything. Maybe an ex said something that made you question your worth. Words leave marks, both good and bad. That's why a woman blessed by God understands the responsibility that comes with her voice. She knows she doesn't just speak to be heard. She speaks to uplift, to inspire, to shift atmospheres. And because her words carry weight, she doesn't waste them on gossip, negativity, or tearing others down. So let me ask you, how are you using your words? Are you speaking life into the people around you? Are you using your voice to uplift, encourage, and inspire, or are you allowing frustration, fear, or negativity to shape what you say? If people come to you for advice, if your words seem to have an effect on those around you, if you've ever spoken something and then watched it come to pass, that's not an accident. That's a gift. And when you recognize the power of your voice, you'll start using it differently. You'll understand that every conversation is an opportunity to plant seeds of hope, strength, and faith. Because a woman blessed by God doesn't just speak, she speaks with purpose. And when she does, lives change.